Hello, and welcome to the What's New in CliQr CloudCenter 4.0 video. There's been a lot of improvements in this release in order to make adopting and expanding an application-defined approach to cloud management even easier for your organization. We've simplified a lot in this release, and to that end, we've updated a lot of the terms used throughout the product. I'll be using these terms throughout the video, and you'll see them in all content moving forward. The 4.0 release marks the release of a simplified UI for administrators and a fresh look for end users. The majority of the changes in the UI are on the admin area, where items have been reorganized and reworked in order to simplify the flow of configuration. You'll notice improvements specifically when setting up clouds, plans, bundles, and subtenants. Your end users will still be able to carry out their tasks just as they did before, except through a fresh UI that simplifies their use of CloudCenter with the toolbar on the left. Other exciting new functionality is that CliQr's adds support for UCS Director, AWS GovCloud US region, and CloudStack 4.0. This furthers your ability to connect to any cloud or data center of your choice. In 4.0, the architecture is changed in order to support more complex application network architectures, like private networks that the orchestrator cannot access. To support this use case, CliQr has added the requirement for a RabbitMQ AMQP server to be co-located with each orchestrator server. AMQP stands for Advanced Message Queue Protocol and is a messaging server that holds messages for other systems to pick up and do work. As this diagram illustrates, VMs can now be on a separate network and create a reverse tunnel by connecting to the AMQP server and pulling instructions back to the VM's agent. The same method is used for pushing information about the VM to the orchestrator. The RabbitMQ server becomes a broker for commands, information, as well as RDP, SSH, and VNC connections. The CliQr agent that's installed on every CliQr managed virtual machine will be updated in this release to no longer be a Java process, but instead it'll move to be a web application running in a Jetty container. Due to the codebase changing, the agent will need to be updated in all deployed applications in order to continue working properly. To update the agent, you'll have two options. One, if the machine is on a server that can be shut down, after the upgrade to 4.0, shut down the deployed application and then restart it. The new deployment will then get updated with the agent installed on them. On the other hand, if stopping workloads is not an option because the machine is in production or for some other reason, then you should wait until 4.1 when CliQr releases a script to update all running agents in place. In this release, the shared storage functionality has been deprecated in favor of utilizing existing code repositories. This gives you the ability to manage repositories of code using tools you already have across your organization, instead of having dispersed locations and methods. Another benefit that I'll talk about in a few minutes is the ability to maintain one file with all required components of an application. I'll cover this in the App Profile Zip Package section. CliQr recommends that in preparation for moving to CloudCenter 4.0, the customers convert to using the repository method of deploying applications as soon as possible. During the upgrade to 4.0, a prerequisite checker will run to confirm that no applications are still dependent on shared storage. If there are, the application name will be displayed so that it can be addressed before continuing with the upgrade. In previous releases, shared storage required LDAP functionality in each orchestrator for authentication. As shared storage has been deprecated and no other CliQr services are using LDAP from the orchestrator, the LDAP service has been removed. If you're upgrading your orchestrator from a previous version, LDAP will remain on the orchestrator, but the agents will not be using it. Previously, each deployed VM in AWS required a connection to DNS. If you didn't provide one, then a VM would require an internet connection so that it could use a CliQr-provided Amazon Route 53 DNS. This is no longer required in order to provision a VM, and Route 53 can still be used, but is not required. In our constant attempt to make administration easier, the 4.0 release adds functionality into the product to automatically sync the instance types and images from OpenStack. This makes it so that there's no manual typing of instance types and image IDs, which could potentially be error-prone. As I mentioned before, with shared storage being deprecated, CliQr has built the functionality to create one package with all necessary files and scripts in it. Without this, using a repository would be difficult because many times a script will reference and call other scripts. And because those scripts can't call out to a repository to grab the reference files, the installation would fail. Now you have the ability to load in all wars, scripts, etc. into one zip file, load it into a repository, then reference the scripts in the application profile relative to the zip file. CliQr will then broker the references within them to deploy the application successfully. Some images require more than one network interface card in order to work. To that end, CliQr has added the ability to increase the amount of network interface cards through altering an image. If we navigate to the administration area and then images, we can now choose an image and set how many NICs it should have. Once set, the application referencing the image will update appropriately. In the past, there were times when setting the network speed in the application profile template would filter out viable clouds during the deployment of the application. CliQr has removed this network speed field from the hardware specs area in the application profile template. In previous releases, if you wanted to hit a local to cloud or different repository per region, it was not possible due to static application profile repository pointers. Because of this, applications were forced to look at the same repository regardless of where they were deploying to. 4.0 now allows you to use CliQr parameters within repository hostname fields so that you can connect to cloud or region-specific repositories. There are other types of applications besides just an end-tier application, things like Hadoop. CliQr now allows for these types of applications to consume storage as a service. Setting it up is as easy as selecting an already deployed and running storage as a service device at deploy time. Security is very important in cloud management, especially when it's on shared and public resources. CloudCenter offers a powerful solution, and the latest version of CloudCenter is even more secure by allowing administrators to provide their own corporate keys. This means that neither CliQr nor the cloud provider have access to the keys. To have your cloud resources use your corporate keys, simply enter them during the deployment process in the advanced area. It's important to note that these keys will be applied to a user called CliQr user. Similar to users connecting to machines, sometimes machines need to access each other as well. CliQr can now support that by creating a persistent private key or by using one provided. In the same screen we were in before, you can configure the persistent private key by using this checkbox. If you provided a key, it will be used. If you haven't, CliQr will create one so that machines can communicate between each other. Cloud images that don't have CliQr agent baked into them will now use cloud init process to install the agent. This method was previously done on AWS, but now can be extended to clouds like Azure and OpenStack. This allows us to do cross-network and isolated bootstrapping of the agent for machines that might not have direct access to the orchestrator. With the new dynamic image permission functionality, if images are hosted in an account that's different than the one that's provisioning, the provisioning account can be given access to the required images for the short time that the machines are being provisioned. You can now also name the machines the way you want. It's important to note that certain clouds will behave differently. For example, AWS does not allow you to really ever change the name of the machine, but we allow you to set the name tag of the machine. In order to limit the dependency on external reporting and database view utilization, the new advanced reporting tool lets you see all the deployments and apply filters to the data to slice and dice it the way you need. As you can see here, you can filter by application, tag, users, and cloud. Then roll the cost data up based on relevant time frame, and then export to PDF or CSV. Cross-network access to virtual machines is very important when working in secure public clouds. With the change in architecture where each host reaches out to RabbitMQ for requests, it also gives us the ability to allow cross-network connections into the machines. VMs that you previously had to connect to using a multi-home jump box or complex routing rules is now accessible via your web browser. In CliQr CloudCenter 4.0, you can see that there's a large focus on making things easier. We uncomplicated the access of cross-network applications, put effort in making it easier to use your own code repositories, and add in advanced reporting features. If you're interested in learning more about CliQr or requesting a demo, please visit us at cliqr.com.